Hello everyone and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. This week is Coaching Business Q&A week where I invite a soul sister or someone from the tribe who has a question about her coaching business to ask that question live so we can jam on it together, knowing that you probably have this question stirring in your own life and business and hoping that it will support you to witness us talk about this live. So today I'm so excited to have Bernadette here. Bernadette is a business doula for soul-inspired women. She is also a graduate of my program, Mentor Masterclass, and she is a current sister guide in the program this year, as well as an amazing woman and coach. So I'm excited to have her here today and to hear your question, Bernadette.
Hi, so glad to be here.
So tell us what's up. What is your question today and what's going on?
Yeah, so my question for you today is, how can I have clients seek me out instead of me seeking them out? Only because I really I dislike seeking them out. I like that prospecting piece. I like feeling salesy, and I really just wish they would all flow to me.
I can relate, and when early in my business wanted to first figure out a way to make prospecting comfortable. So if you guys aren't familiar with the term prospecting, what Bernadette is talking about is that action of going out and looking for your clients and having them find your work. So I remember really looking at people in my industry going, how is it that they have just floods of people coming to them all the time while I'm really having to do all of this work? So what a great question. I love the way that you asked it too by asking for specific step-by-steps, because I have a few ideas of how to simplify this, because it is a pretty artful process and I think there's many different things you can do. And the most important thing is to simplify it where it feels like you can focus just on one little thing and keep growing and expanding. And that way it makes it feel easy for you to get to that, from that A to Z point of clients flooding to you. Okay, so I'm going to share a few ideas, Bernadette. Tell me what you think about these. So the first, and some of these you might know, and some of you might have already done a few of these steps, which is awesome, which means you're even closer through the process. But let's try to decide where you are at in the process, just in case there's anyone that's starting before you, Bernadette, and trying to get to that same space. So the first thing I would say is that you really want to research the coaching industry and see who do people know, like, and trust. Just get to know the coaching industry in general and get a feel for who are the people who are getting floods of clients coming into them, and what can you learn through that research to just get a feel for what's working in your particular industry. Because in an industry like the best tires and rims versus an industry like who do I go to for my life and life coaching might have totally different ways of getting people interested and forming a tribe that seeks their work. So you want to find out what is unique in your industry that seems to work. And if you do see those people who just seem to have ease selling their services and ease putting their work out there and people responding, you do want to start to get a feel for, is there a common trend that I can see in this industry? The second thing then is, once you know that, you want to know yourself as a coach. So I would start with getting a really good life coach training program, making sure that you feel confident about your skills and that you are a master coach. And then the third step is to coach at least 50 people, ideally in a condensed amount of time. I would say in a 3-month period, if you could coach 50 people, or at least just enough until you really get to answer the question, who do I love coaching? Who do I hate coaching? What am I good at when I coach? What things am I interested in? What natural abilities and strengths arise in my coaching? So you get a strong foundation for who you are as a coach and come to know yourself as a coach. And then the final step, which has a few steps in it, is to establish yourself as an expert, which this I think is really the challenging part. Those first 3 parts are the researching stage. It's just like when you go out looking for a relationship. You're going to have a better relationship and potential soulmate than you are when you know yourself and you've come to know yourself and have experience. versus if you kind of go into a relationship where like, I don't know who I am or what I want, but let me settle down with this person. And those are all important because in order to get to that place where you can establish yourself as an expert, you want to make sure you're calling in the right tribe. So those first 3 steps are going to help you with that and help you understand your industry. Then you get to the place where you want to establish yourself as an expert. So I have a few tips on that, and I can give you like, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exact steps that you can take for that. But before I do, Bernadette, how's that feeling so far, and where do you feel in that process so far?
Right. So it feels awesome because obviously I went through the year-long coaching and got tons of practice, and I feel really confident about that. So I feel like I'm right at 4.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. So when I was thinking about establishing yourself as an expert, for some reason I thought about an ice cream shop. So I want to ask you, Bernadette, what is your favorite place to go get? Do you like ice cream, first of all?
I love ice cream.
Okay, good. So this will work then. Then where is your favorite spot to go get ice cream? And tell me a little bit about why.
Yeah, I guess that has to be Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors. Awesome. Because I love Rocky Road. And so, yeah, if we're going out for ice cream, that's usually where I want to go. And yeah, just because they're well known, they're everywhere. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll share my favorite ice cream spot is in Connecticut, and it's called Milkcraft. And it's an ice cream spot that sells, now I'm going to forget what it's called, like hydrogenated ice cream. Like they use this special cold air that makes this special ice cream, and it's like had never really seen it before. It's the only place that does it, and they called me in because the outside is just so cool. It's next to my favorite noodle shop, and they have like music playing and beautiful lighting and a seating area. And then it's like, I was like, I have to try that. I've never tried ice cream that way before. And so it's super special kind of way that they make it, that makes it a different consistency and texture. So I asked this because everybody, like ice cream is ice cream, right? And how many ice cream shops do you think there are across the U.S. or even just in your city? Probably multiple ice cream shops. But what's really interesting is there's something really specific about what you chose, right? You chose your favorite flavor is like one of the core favors of ice cream. And you chose the place that's like been around for years, that just knows how, probably because it's that simple core flavor of ice cream, they do it best. They've been doing it for years and they have it, right? Whereas my favorite ice cream is this like totally new, inventive, it's like my favorite, it's like lemon olive oil with lemon zest, salted caramel flakes or something. So it's like, I'm like, this Baskin-Robbins doesn't carry that ice cream. I know that for sure. So I wouldn't go there. And my favorite place does not carry Rocky Road. So you would not want to go there. So when I think about establishing yourself as an expert and all the steps that you've already been through, it's kind of getting to have fun and own who you are as an ice cream shop, if you think about it that way. So you've seen the industry, you know what kind of, if it was ice cream, you know what kind of ice cream people are looking for. You know, like the flavor, like in this coaching industry that seems to work best. You know yourself as a coach, so you know what you're capable of. You know whether you're really good at making the core Rocky Road or whether you're innovative and have come up with new flavors, and you can't mess around with Rocky Road because what you do is this innovative new flavor. And so once you know that, now you want to establish yourself as the expert so that the world knows what you're serving and how to find it. So a few kind of steps to begin that process is to really start with thinking about who is the community that you serve with the specific kind of problem. Are you talking to the Rocky Road girls, or are you talking to the lemon olive oil brand new invention of ice cream girls, or men? And once you know that, that will really help you because you can start to just focus on speaking to that community and I'll kind of go through the steps. But that way, if you're trying to offer something, you want to make sure a community exists that wants it. And you want to make sure that you know their problem. Because if I was to stay in my marketing, I am not your Rocky Road ice cream store. And you were to say, we have perfected Rocky Road like nobody's business. It helps everyone get really clear. First of all, then you know, and you want to make sure that community exists. So we want to make sure that there are people that want the Rocky Road and there are people that want that innovative. And once you do, the best part about that is you get to say, now I can really hone into speaking to this person, and that's how that person becomes drawn to you. Because then they say, I don't want to go to any of those other ice cream shops. I'm drawn to this one. That's how people start saying, oh my God, you like Rocky Road? So do I. I know exactly where you need to go. And then your job starts to relax a little bit in how much you have to be putting your marketing out there, because it speaks for itself and it draws your people in. So if you can really get into that space where you know what community you're serving and what specific problem they have, that's going to make the difference in establishing you as the expert and having your people come to you. Then the second part of that is to create the offering that solves their problem. So let's be clear, if we're really breaking this down in step, the first step is just to find the community and the problem. You don't have to do anything yet. But then the second problem is to actually create the offering that solves the problem. So that would mean actually make the ice cream now, and make sure that your flavor is the right one for them and get the word out that you're serving that. And then the third step is to create credibility. So this is when either someone else that is an expert says you're an expert too, or recommends you, or you start to establish yourself as the expert, where you have to do something to get yourselves out there. But I would say the easiest way and the first way is to get some credibility. Either be featured again, if we're looking at, if you know your industry specifically, you'll know where the experts exist who you want to give you credibility, whether that is a website that posts your blog, or it is a powerful person in the industry that gives you a reference and tells people that you're great, or it is in a book. So you want to look for, where do people in my industry read, and who in this industry can I get to establish me as an expert, someone who people already trust. Because if the most famous ice cream reviewer on the block says you've got to go to Bernadette for Rocky Road, that's where you're really going to get a new flood of people that come to you. So you want to try to create some way to have an expert give you credibility. And then the next step is that you create some way to establish yourself as an expert. So that is some way to get yourself and your work out there where people can come to know you and like you and trust you and get a taste for what you do and how you do it. So if you were that ice cream shop, you might go out to a big event and give free samples and put up a best sign that says Best Rocky Road in town. And then finally, and this kind of ties everything together, if you've taken those steps in that order, everything that you write, every picture that you use on your website, every word that you use in your copy needs to relate back to that community of people and their problem and why you are the expert, so people come to know you and like you and trust you through your brand. So then everything about your brand, if we keep on with this ice cream analogy, maybe your brand colors would be brown and white, and there'd be sprinkling marshmallows, along the side, because that establishes more of a connection to that community of people and what they want. So you want to think about, how can the pictures I use on my website, the words and specific scenarios that I describe, the brand colors, the offerings that I have, how can those all connect to the heart of the person in that community with that problem to establish you as the expert and the right brand for that person? And that's really, and here's the mistake, and I say that is the last step. Because most people try to do that first. They're like, I can't put myself out there in the world. I can't ask a credible person to send people to me until my website is perfect, until my offerings are perfect. But if you notice, some of the things that you had to do were first getting yourself out there, doing the research, establishing yourself, and then you can invest more time and more of your resources in your business to grow your brand. And that will ultimately be the thing that pulls it all together. But if you do those other steps in that order, you're going to notice that people are already coming to you, so you'll have some of the income and abundance to be able to invest in that brand and amplify it. So how does that feel, Bernadette? Any follow-up questions or any aha moments that you got going through that?
I love it. I love the piece about reaching out to experts and being featured in, to their audience if we share the same audience. I love that idea. That's a great idea. Yeah.
And there's so many different ways to do that. I think in our industry, the common ways you see people will do like a teleseminar event where they're featuring other experts and then they ask that expert to email to their list. The reason that so many people do that and why it works is because they are then establishing themselves as the expert through that process. But there are so many other creative ways that you can think to collaborate and do that. So I would encourage you and the women in our industry to think about what's another way to do that. What's a unique way that speaks to who I am and how I like to work and how I want to put things out there in the world.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you, Bernadette. This was an awesome question. Ladies, I'm so curious what's come up for you as you have listened to this and what your big takeaway is. Maybe you can tell Bernadette and I where you are at in the process of the breakdown and what your next step is going to be. Speaking of Bernadette, what do you think your next step is going to be?
Yeah, I think I'm going to decide who shares my audience and reach out to be featured. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm forever going to think of you as Rocky Road.
That's so funny.
Thank you, ladies. We'll see you next week with another Wake Up Wednesday. And for now, goodbye. Do you want to become a confident and masterful life coach? Imagine feeling completely supported by a brilliant sisterhood while you launch your dream business and attain financial freedom. Mentor Masterclass is an all-in life coach training program for 40 women who are on a mission to learn from the best. You can join Mentor Masterclass at the beginning of any new month while spaces are available. Head on over to mentormasterclass.com to learn more about the training and apply now.